the undertaking that the state of South Dakota just accomplished. I mean, because it was a referendum and the citizens of South Dakota decided that the legislature actually passed a law that they did not agree with, that only had 90 days. We had 90 days from when we sign and die of the legislation to the actual date that the petitions had to be turned in. And we literally received 28,000, give or take, signatures. And so the state of South Dakota has decided that they're not going to allow this to happen. The undertaking of getting a referendum on the ballot in November is huge, but to do it in 90 days should speak volumes to this, to the legislators that voted for it, for the bad legislation, and to our governor, who is getting behind this legislation and this corporate takeover of our private property rights. It's wrong. 2 years ago, when I talked about this with fellow legislators and, basically understanding what I understood about the World Economic Forum, the World Health, the WHO, all of those different, they kind of looked at you like, okay, Julie, put your tinfoil hat away. Well, as of today, I do not think that is that is the opinion of many South Dakotans, Iowans, North Dakotans, Nebraskans, anyone who has been touched by this CO2 pipeline, wind tower situation, solar panel situation. They're putting these alternative forms of electricity, the CO2 pipeline, to basically save the environment. A kindergartner can figure out that this makes absolutely zero sense. I have a son who is also a power lineman, and he said the least efficient way of producing electricity is solar and wind. And when you take a look at how much petroleum products, how much product is created to create these products in order to save electricity or to save the environment, how much has gone into them, and how devastating it is to our future generations, there is nothing climate control or environmentally safe. There's no factors of that factored into any one of these. Putting CO2 in a pipeline is for absolutely no one's good except the fat cats who are going to be actually making a profit off of the tax credits, which come out of my pocket, go to Washington, D.C., and then come back and basically is a profit center for these large corporations or individuals who have decided that they're more important than we, the United States citizen. So we have to put a stop to this. The motivation is food controlling our food supply. They are trying to, and for those folks who are not seeing this, that you don't have to dig very deep to understand and realize that this is 100% a takeover of our private property rights in the Midwest. If we are truly looking at food supply and we are truly paying attention to the absolute motive, is that they want to start monitoring all of our livestock. They already have captured the poultry and the pork industry, and the next thing they're going to come after is they're going to come after that beef cattle industry through the use of RFIDs. And RFIDs are a digital ear tag, so they can track every single one of those head of livestock from birth to slaughter. And what they did the same exact thing in Denmark in 2022, and by the following year they had ordered 41,000 head of livestock killed for no other reason than climate change. That has got to stop in the United States, and we have got to put our foot down against RFID. That is one more private property right being taken away from the citizens of South Dakota and of the United States. We need to have one foot on the Holy Bible and one foot on the Constitution. And without that, they will take everything. And we need to learn our Constitution, we need to understand it, and we need to understand where it came from. And it came from the fact that we are not supposed to be slaves to anyone. So the global elites, whomever you want to call them, whoever they are in your state, I do believe they're all after the same thing, and that's after control. And how do you control and bring a nation to their knees? You control their food. we have to take a minute and realize that ultimately what all of these easements, including conservation easements, when a company comes onto your property and offers you all this money to basically say, hey, you know what, you'll still own it, you'll still get to pay the taxes, you'll still be liable for that property. All we want to do is use it, and we're going to pay you for that right to use your property. Well, I think what we are experiencing here in South Dakota is these landowners are looking at it, oh, well, I can farm around it, I can make this, I can maneuver around it. When anyone has an easement on your property, if you read that easement, for number one, it's perpetual. It basically gives that corporation, that company, Nextera, Summit, whatever the corporation of the flavor of the month, who's coming in and invading our small communities here in South Dakota and promising the residents, they're promising them an income flow, an income stream for however many years or whatever. What they don't understand is they are allowing that easement to be put on that business's balance sheet and become part of their actual financial power to borrow against. The ultimate goal is by 2030 that you will own nothing and be happy. And I'm sorry, but there is nothing in that statement that makes me happy. And we have been promised through our Constitution, not only promised, but we've been given the right to own private property here in South Dakota, in everywhere in the United States. When we are exporting, we're exporting way more of our grain, our beef, our pork that is produced here in South Dakota. We are exporting, I would say, majority of it. Between us, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, we probably feed a good portion of the world. And so I think that by them focusing and honing in on flyover country or the Midwest, it should the picture should be pretty clear for folks that they're truly after our food supply. Yeah. This globalist agenda has decided to take and park themselves in South Dakota and use us as an example to the rest of the nation. And by us fighting back, we are not only fighting back against a current legislation that passed, and which I'm a member of, that passed very bad legislation for the people of South Dakota, but we are fighting against a much larger machine, much larger corporate takeover. And I am so proud of the citizens of South Dakota to understand and realize that they are starting to wake up and take a bird's eye view now of what is really happening in our state. What we are doing in the state of South Dakota is really remarkable, to standing up to these people. We're doing something no other state has been able to accomplish, and that alone is just it truly is moving.
Right.